Yo, what's good? It's your man, 100 grand, Ross with the Rock Never Stops. The Detroit Pistons, yo, they went out there and took out all of their frustrations from the last several games of getting no calls, getting so close but falling short. And they took it all out on the Chicago Bulls. I want to dive into that in this video. If you enjoy it, smash the like button for me, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. This was a hell of a game from beginning to end. And I want to point out a few things that I noticed that I had actually talked about at the beginning of the season. For y'all who've been following my channel, I said straight up, look, what I liked about them early on when they had won a couple games and they were really in it in some other games, despite not having their veterans, I said they seemed to have like this defensive pedigree mindset that at their foundations, they were going to compete and be physical and defensive minded. And I said that this is who the Detroit Bad Boy Pistons have always been throughout their lineage as a franchise. They've always been a tough, hard-nosed, hard-hat defensive team. And I saw that at the beginning of the season, and somehow they kind of got away from it. They started turning into a volume three-point shooting team, and I guess they probably were trying to iron out a lot of their offensive woes. But all that's to say is that shit was back tonight. I mean, them boys was going hard. Let me just start off by saying Ausar Thompson on defense is a problem. He is a problem. If he is lining up from you, it's almost like looking at Richard Sherman or Deion Sanders or one of those shut-down cornerbacks that's like, look, we're really not even going to throw to you because it doesn't do our team any advantage to actually do that. They're nullifying a lot of the impact that their best player has when you see Ausar Thompson lined up in front of him. Ausar Thompson's lateral mobility, his quickness, his athleticism to be able to recover off of those on-ball screens, his size at 6'7", 220 pounds, he's probably got to be close to 230 pounds. I mean, the boy is big. He's got thick legs. He's explosive, great timing, quick hands. And the more he learns by playing these high-level number one offensive options, the more he plays against them and learns all the little tricks of the trade that they try to do to elude him, the more he's like figuring out, almost like a calculator, just like, okay, I can get away with this, but not this. Okay, I picked up one foul, so I'll turn it back just a little bit, but I'm still better than most other perimeter defenders on my team. So I know how to not get into foul trouble, right? And that's a huge benefit for this team when they can go, Ausar, you take him, and we don't have to worry about him. We don't have to send any doubles. You got him. And when teams have that guy, the Chicago Bulls kind of had that guy with Alex Caruso, but Cade Cunningham he had other guys working, and so he was able to not have to force it as much. But all that's to say is that when you have one of those guys, it allows your defense to be positioned to be able to play at a higher level because they're not constantly in rotation. The second thing that I noticed, the defensive rebounding was scary. I mean, it was. You would just see every time the ball came off the rim, you would see Ausar flying, you would see Fontecchio flying in, you would see Cade flying in, you would see Duren, you would see Isaiah Stewart, who shot out is back and looks good in terms of his effort and his physicality, even knocked down a couple threes. But when you got guys with that type of size and athleticism and length, right? Remember, Duren, Stewart both got 7'5" wingspans, right? Both of them are, 6'9", 6'10", 6'11", 250, 260 pounds, right? And quick off their feet, right? You got 6'9", Fontecchio. You got 6'7", Ausar Thompson. You got 6'6", Cade Cunningham. Like, you got size. And that was something that was evident. They make teams look small when they go up against them, when they have that type of a size. And so I thought that they just did a fantastic job from beginning to end, limiting the Chicago Bulls' shot opportunities with just one and out. And when you have that type of defensive rebounding capability and such athleticism on the perimeter defending, and guys just flying around, Jaden Ivey with great effort on defense, Ausar Thompson, both of them just using their athleticism to really challenge shots up top. I mean, it bothered them. You could just see it. Kobe White never got going. DeMar DeRozan had to fight for every bucket he got. And that was a huge advantage for this team. The other thing that I want to point out that I noticed that they finally got out into transition. And I mean, they've been doing it the past couple games, but you could see for sure in this game it was unconscious. They got out in transition. They increased the pace of the game, and I think that has played into Cade Cunningham's hands a lot because when he goes too slow, he's almost at too slow of a rhythm to be able to even get to his spots. And so when he's playing at a faster pace, he actually moves within his rhythm a little bit faster that allows him to get into defenders with a kind of not a slow pace, but a methodical pace that's able to break them down almost like Luka does. Now I would say this. Luka can slow down with the best of them. I mean, he can slow down to a stop and then set you up and do his thing. Cade is not like that. Cade needs to stay in a rhythm, almost kind of like a Stephen Curry, right? Steph always kind of keeps coming at you downhill with like a certain momentum. And Cade showed when he's in that momentum and he's moving at a higher pace, he is a beast. He is a beast to be able to stay in front of. And he just did a great job in this game, staying aggressive, knocking down open shots. He was moving all over the court, getting to the rim, getting to the bucket, finishing around the rim with his left hand, floaters, taking contact, getting to the free throw line. He was just consistently a presence on the offensive end and getting assists and creating for others. Now, I would say something that I do want to point out that I think needs to be addressed is the bench. The bench sorely misses Marcus Sasser. Look, Malachi Flynn, man, that is a third string point guard. He is not a backup point guard. He just hasn't shown it to me. And Marcus Sasser was like, man, when he got in the game, I mean, he was like Vinnie Johnson. You knew he was getting a bucket. You knew he was going to get, by the end of the game, he's going to get you about 9 at least, and he might have close to 20 by the end. You know, like he's in that range every game, and you could depend on he can get to his spots. Without him on the court, this team struggles with that bench unit getting to their spots. I don't think Evan Fournier is that guy. And if I'm honest with you, Fournier and Grimes and Flynn, and even I'm not going to say Fontecchio as much, but I'm going to say definitely Grimes, Fournier, and Flynn are really forcing it. And if you watch them, there's a difference between being aggressive and then trying to show what you can do because you are an impending free agent and you're trying to make sure that you're going to get signed again. And I understand this is a business as well, so I'm not mad at it. But sometimes they're forcing it, puts them in positions that it's not necessarily apropos to their play style, and they end up out of position. They end up taking tough shots or turning the ball over. But I think it irons itself out over the next few games. But all in all, this is one hell of a game. The effort from beginning to end was amazing. I love the defense that I was seeing out there. It was smothering the Chicago Bulls, and they just didn't have enough talent. And it really, this is one of the few times I said the Detroit Pistons had more talent than the other team, between Duren, between Ivy, between Cade. Let me not even forget, I almost forgot to mention, Jaden Ivey was getting into his bag. And this is the first time that I really began to see his bag. I mean, getting into, quick attack, step back, 3, pull, wow, knockdown. Accelerating and then decelerating to get into the contact and get to the free throw line. He was just so decisive with his movements on the court. Like he had officially internalized what that shot package is for him and his role next to Cade Cunningham. And it just looks smooth. Shout outs to Monty Williams for getting that done, because 5 games ago, it didn't look this good. It just didn't, right? But now all of a sudden you start seeing the chemistry between them. And you can see the set plays that they come out with in order to move the ball between them, which helps to build the chemistry. And that's even another point. The ball movement in this game was fantastic from the Detroit Pistons. The ball was whipping around, even though towards the end of the third, you saw they got a little loose with it, as they tend to do, and they turned the ball over a few times. But it's to say that, especially throughout the majority of the game, about three-fourths of the game, if not more, they were moving the ball extremely efficiently, but they were making reads at a high level, which I really appreciated. Right? Nobody was trying to do things out of what their capabilities were, and they were really just making sure that they found the open man in a very unselfish way, which once again speaks to the chemistry that's developing. And I want to give a big shout out to Monty Williams to keep this team locked in, to keep them focused, to keep them competitive, with that mindset. Because a lot of teams losing this much, especially last season, right, having such a losing season, and then coming into this year, how they started, it would have been easy for them to fold. It would have been easy for them to turn against each other and start getting frustrated. And the frustrations were definitely there throughout the season. But they didn't lose heart. They didn't lose focus. They didn't lose that belief in themselves and their game. And you can see it all coming around, right? It's all coming together right now. And like I've been saying, this team's going to win a whole lot more in the back end of this season than they did in the front end. And so I continue to expect them to be in every game and to pull out a few more. I think in these last, 20-something games, 25, 26 games, I think they're going to win about 7 to 8. I'm calling it now. At least. So, but at the end of the day, I want to know what you all think. Get at me in the comment section. What do you think about this game? What do you think about the outlook for the rest of the season? Who were you most impressed by at the end of this game? Once again, it's your man, 100 grand. Ross for the Rock Never Stops. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'm out. Peace.